running Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday on Talk Live. So thank you very much for joining me. We are live here on IG and YouTube here. Thank you very much for joining me again. Yes, indeed. We're going to get right and started with this because we're a bit behind, but this is going to be a rather quick show. It should be getting it in within an hour. And then as the week progresses, just letting you know, we're going to be talking about Neon and Shaq. Not Neon. Neo, that is, who's being co-signed by Shaq in terms of his lifestyle and the reaction to that. And then following that, we will talk about Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs and the continuing saga of how woke female films and television shows are tanking at the box office and in the ratings. And how indeed this is affecting the bottom line of a lot of studios and how they are indeed really breaking it in terms of, especially Snow White. Snow White was a huge production with regard from the Disney Studios, and they spent up to about $500 million in terms of marketing, in terms of film budget, and yeah, they really ate it. I think in the first week ratings was 43 million, so it's not exactly the best of ratings. Because the first weekend is the most important weekend of a film, and for them to only reach the $43 million mark, it doesn't bode well because there are diminishing returns from thereafter. So again, so we'll be talking about that on Thursday, or I'll see about where my loot lies. But Wednesday and Thursday will be consisting of those shows. So do stay tuned to Talk Live for that. So thank you very much for joining me on Talk Live. Okay, let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen. The WNBA are and the players such as Adrian Reese are asking for more money. Yes, indeed. They're trying to get blood from a stone, and they don't realize that stones don't contain blood of any shape or form. But again, they still they still want what they want, as these ladies say. So let's just get into this video by THPP Productions here. Let's get into this here. Let's go to the browser and let's get to the cam itself. Yes, indeed. Thank you very much for joining me here on Talk Live. So let us get back here. The THPP Network Studios. Like and subscribe to THPP Network Studios. It's something that I just came across more recently. I think they give a good synopsis of certain topics that are critical to Black Manosphere, the Manosphere in general. And the title of this video is WNBA players demand equal pay or they won't play like Angel. So it speaks to the topic of today. But here we have the title of the NBA, the WNBA want more play, but Daddy NBA won't pay. So anyway, so let's get into this video right away. I know you've been waiting, so let's just get into this. Thank you very much for joining me on Talk Live on IG and YouTube. Like, subscribe, comment on the road to 1,000 subscribers. Wearing my nephew's design shirt here from way back when we decided to bring it back tonight, as I just came back from the gym, and it still looks cool to me. So let's get into this. Thank you very much for joining me on Talk Live.
If they don't pay her what she wants to be paid.
Everybody's going away except y'all. Y'all gotta pay y'all dues. Yeah. Mm-hmm. We all did it.
Yeah, the CBA is coming up. I can't wait. And we deserve more.
Of course, everybody. I agree.
Everybody.
I agree with that.
But we gotta get paid for consequences. Yeah, we gotta get it up.
Y'all gotta do something. Y'all gotta do something.
Angel Reese said her salary don't even handle all her bills. That means she living in debt.
I just hope y'all know the WNBA don't pay my bills at all.
I don't even think that pays one of my bills.
I'm trying to think of like my rent for where I stay at. I'm gonna do the math real quick. I don't even know my salary. 74? Okay.
Yo! I'm living beyond my means.
Sorry.
See, this is the thing. This is the problem with a lot of women you see here at Talk Live. That, well, again, a lot of consumer debt and credit card debt were allotted to women. I think 80% of the consumer debt is female-owned and operated. And it's no difference here in the WNBA. You have a lady, Angel Reese, who you'll see in a minute, she gets a lot from her endorsements, a lot from her contract, but yet she's living beyond her means, and she wants more money from the NBA because, again, she has bills to pay that she no longer can afford. But again, this is the female issue around the world, especially in the Western world, that they cannot afford to live. The majority of women, that is. I think a lot of the minority of women out there's a minority of women out there who know how to budget, know how to save, including my sister. My sister is very, very good at that. Give her credit. Shout out to my sister. But she is nowhere near like these. She is nowhere near like these girls. These girls are spending money like it's going out of style, going over budget, and literally living beyond their means. And they're going to find a very, very nasty end to things unless they find a man who can protect and provide for them and allow for them to live this frivolous lifestyle. But again, Angel Reese is very much like every other woman out there. She's 23. She has this. She gets paid for these endorsement deals, but still she's living beyond her means with that and her WNBA salary. So that's why she's asking for more money, because she doesn't have any. She literally doesn't have her means. She's living beyond her means, but yet she wants Daddy WNBA, Daddy NBA to cover her costs. Well, it's like, it's sport as in life, right? So let's continue.
Yeah, she don't understand how immature she sounds. You need a financial advisor, and you need to understand you're a WNBA player. Your money is not going to come from the league. The league is just a vessel for you to get endorsements and make bigger money. You hustle.
Very well said there by Craig Smith. Shout out to Craig Smith of the Corey Holcomb show, which I recently discovered this week, and it is a fantastic show, to be fair. Shout out to Corey Holcomb. He's doing wonderful things in YouTube streets and on Black Twitter and Black Instagram and very much Black YouTube. He's starting to run things, and a very funny man, and his takes are sometimes wild, but very much well received by the Black community. So shout out to him. And Craig Smith is right here. It's the WNBA is a vehicle for these ladies to get endorsements for their contracts, so they can earn the six figures that they so choose. The likes of a Caitlin, not everybody's going to be a Caitlin Clark, who's going to be who's going to be the bell ringer for all things good in the WNBA, because she's a great player. She attracts a lot of attention, and she is well received by the public. And she recently got a huge 7-figure Nike deal for a Nike endorsement for shoes. And again, she's going to bring a lot of money into the league, and is going to allow, and she's going to rise. She's a tide that rises all boats. This is going to allow for the WNBA players to get a better collective bargaining agreement, which allow them to earn six figures. But Angel Reese and the they don't like the fact that Caitlin Clark is coming in and shaking things up a bit and allowing for them to do better, because they want to do it as good or better than her. That's why they're fouling her. That's why they're losing their ish over her, and quite simply, they don't realize the gold mine they've landed upon, because they think they're the stars. They think they're the it people. But this is simply put childish behavior from the WNBA players. But childish behavior is a woman's wheelhouse, quite simply, and so we see it played out in full time. We have here, for most females. Let me say for most females. Yeah. Anyways, Lana BK says her salary could be lower, but she makes bank off endorsements. Exactly, indeed, Lana BK, you're absolutely right. As Craig Smith was saying, this is a vehicle. The WNBA is a vehicle for ladies stars in the league to get endorsements, so they can earn six-figure salaries, and good six-figure salaries at that. However, a lot of these ladies are living a lifestyle that is well beyond their means, as was seen in the last clip there by Angel Reese, and that's why she's asking for more money, because she can't budget her money, can't budget the six figures that she receives, that most people usually budget. But again, she's a young lady, and that education clearly escaped her. Let's continue.
The league don't make enough money to pay you what you want. Your college team makes more money than most WNBA teams.
Angel Reese has a whole bunch of opportunity because of the WNBA. Let's look at her endorsements that she has as a WNBA player/influencer. She has the deal with Reebok. She has the collection that came out in 2023. She has a deal with Hershey's, most notably Reese's, because Reese's Buttercups and Angel Reese, same last name, big deal with them. She has an endorsement deal with Amazon, Beats by Dre, PlayStation, Cash App, Panini America, Wingstop, Xfinity, and Raising Cane's.
So all these endorsements, look at all these endorsements. These are good six-figure endorsements. All of these ones. Reebok, Hershey's for Reese's Pieces, Amazon, Beats by Dre, PlayStation, Cash App, Panini America, Wingstop, Xfinity, and Raising Cane. All these are great endorsements. All these are six-figure endorsements. A lot of money is coming Angel Reese's way, simply because the WNBA gives her a platform so she can be seen readily by readily both domestically and internationally, and that is great for Madison Avenue. In order for, and I think she has a great McDonald's deal as well included in these endorsements. So this girl's making a lot of money. What's happening, however, as she clearly sees, is that she's crying poverty. She's saying, I can't make this sort of money and such and such and such. I need more money from the WNBA. But however, as I said, you can't get blood from a stone. You can't literally ask the NBA to give you more money, or else when they're losing money, hand over fist. This has never been a money-making venture to the WNBA. Hell, most of these ladies who support the WNBA can't name 5 players from the WNBA. I've named 2 of them. So again, it is shameless. I mean, most of the greatest supporters of the WNBA are men. I think their biggest fan base are men. So, where are the ladies in this instance? Well, I know where they are. They're trying to get into the NBA games, and believe me, being in Toronto, being with the Raptors, I see it myself when women cancel all plans to get to an NBA game. All of them to get to an NBA game and really be seen. It's a place to see and be seen, and I think there's an WNBA team coming to Toronto. I'd love to see those ladies appear at WNBA games, but one thing's for sure, they're going to have to pay for themselves. And you know what? Chances are it won't be well supported because men aren't going to exactly shell out, and that's where a lot of ladies do get their attendance from, by men buying tickets. Let's continue.
And you know how she got all of those endorsements? The WNBA, of course.
It comes down to sponsorship. It comes down to the big agencies, the big corporations wanting to be a part of this, like they want to be a part of the NFL, like they want to be a part of the NBA, like they want to be a part of MLB.
The women coming in, not this year, but next year, because the ones coming in this year will still be on the rookie contract again. Mm-hmm. The ones the year after, they're gonna get more. They probably gonna be making more than this. Mm-hmm. They are I've been in the meetings. They are.
And the fact of the matter is because of the Caitlin Clark effect. That's where a lot of these younger ladies are going to make more money than these original ladies, because, again, a lot of these girls were drafted in the were drafted before the Caitlin Clark era or at the Caitlin Clark era when their contracts were negotiated. So it's clear that these ladies are gonna. A lot of these ladies are taking it out, and a lot of these ladies are feeling jealous, and that's why a lot of these ladies are, fouling hard. A lot of their, Caitlin Clark, because they're jealous. They're simply jealous of a woman who's come in, who has the skills and the aptitude and the attitude, and Lord knows she's heterosexual, so that's a problem. Anyways, it's the alphabet gang going to hear that. But anyways, yeah, she's seen as a threat. She's seen as a villain, and even though it is the tide that rises all boats, and it's a shame that a lot of these NBA players, including Angel Reese, because she's been seen to be fouling Caitlin Clark and trying to steal the spotlight, and literally saying previously that there are other stars, including me. So focus on me in the WNBA. But that's attention grabbing behavior that most women are famous for. Let's continue.
I need to get in the field.
You need to come to the meetings.
I need to get in the meetings because I'm hearing they don't give us. If y'all don't give us what we want, we sitting out.
That's a possibility for real.
Yeah.
And it's just a time that women's basketball is going crazy.
Let me go back to this.
You need to come to the meetings.
I need to get in the meetings because I'm hearing they don't give us. If y'all don't give us what we want, we sitting out.
So that is the issue in question. The problem in question is that Angel Reese is, opened up her mouth again, saying the wrong things again, opened a big mouth again, and saying to everybody, unless we get more money, we're going to sit out. This from a league where they can't afford to sit out. Literally, they cannot afford to sit out. But these girls think that they have the privilege to do so because they think that they're making money, but they're not making money. Again, her salary is funded by the men, the NBA. I think 80 to 90% of all expenses are paid by the NBA. It's only now that you're starting to see that number dwindle because of Caitlin Clark and the new eyeballs that are brought to the league. But there'll come a day when they'll continue to foul her and they'll put her out of commission, and then they'll this NBA will revert to its non-profitable type. So it's foolhardy for her to say that, but it's coming from entitlement, it's coming from privilege, and that's a typical female behavior, unfortunately, especially for an age such as her who believes that they deserve everything for nothing. Let's continue.
Possibility for real.
Yeah.
And it's just a time that women's basketball is going crazy.
Women's basketball is not going crazy. They're telling you a lie. They're not telling you the truth. They're still dealing with a huge loss. They're operating at a loss. That's the reason why the NBA has to come in. Daddy has to come in and pay their way to play. It's as simple as that. It's always been that way. It always will be. And the NBA. Well, it's sport imitating life. I won't go as to how that is supported as well, but it's foolhardy to say that the NBA is blowing up. WNBA is blowing up. If it is blowing up in any way, shape, or form, it's because Caitlin Clark is helping the league out, but still they're dealing at a loss. They're still losing money, and that's the long and the short of it.
Yeah, it's gonna be a time next year.
Ooh,
so
I'm excited,
but we deserve it.
If y'all don't give us what we want, we sitting out. Y'all gonna bankrupt yourselves? Are you serious? You can't make this.
Oh, you
if y'all
can.
don't give us what we want, we sitting out. Okay. See how far that gets you. We'll see you in the unemployment line.
Maybe they should go on strike because at this point, they may actually save money considering they're hemorrhaging cash just by staying in business. I mean, when was the last time you heard of a company that consistently loses money every single year? Millions of dollars year after year, never once turning a profit.
If you go on strike, then you're going to lose. Well, let's go back and look at them again. You're going to lose all of those brand deals because you will no longer be important. You are important because you play in the WNBA. Point blank, period. Every athlete is important because of what they do. So the WNBA is the opportunity that gets you to everywhere else. And I would say that Angel Reese is much richer, probably in the top 1% of all WNBA players.
In 2024, they made history, but not in the way you'd expect. They lost a staggering $40 million during what was supposedly their most successful year yet.
That is a problem. Run that Phil back one more time. It seems, yes, indeed, let's just get back to this subject right here. Yes, let it play again. $40 million. You see it here on Talk Live. That was their loss as of 2024. Their most successful year. Yet Angel Reese wants more money. Their most successful year on record, the WNBA lost $40 million. Despite their TV deals, despite their endorsements, despite the NBA propping them up to some sort of legitimacy, they still lost $40 million. Make that make sense. But they still want more money. They still want as you'll hear as we go on, the ladies still want a bigger cut of the loss. They still want, it's simple economics, really, and I do have an economics degree. So what I'll tell you is this. If you, as a WNBA player or a WNBA, players union, wants more money from the league, so that $40 million could double to $80 million of a loss. Could double to $120 million. And you know who has to pay that cost? Men do. So what essentially these ladies are doing, they're asking men, again, to back their play. Once more, it's like paying for dinner and not asking for the money back. Such is the plight of men. Because this ain't coming, listen, all this money is not, I repeat, not coming from the WNBA to cover this loss. That is NBA money that has to be forwarded on to these ladies. It's like that whole oyster thing where these ladies sit down, order a whole bunch of oysters, nearly total up the bill to about $500, but they expect the man to pay for it. Yet, remember, they're not done at the restaurant. They still want a steak. They still want a T-bone steak. They still want filet mignon. They still want barbecue chicken. They want all these things still in order to feed themselves for the week. See, they don't want to eat for the night. They want to eat for the week. And they feel that the endorsements that they're receiving aren't enough. So people like Angel Reese come around and say, no, I need to sink this venture even more in order to get paid. Make that make sense. Let's continue.
During what was supposedly their most successful year yet. How could anybody call that success?
You guys are losing money in the league. They can't pay you more than what the league is getting, okay? You should understand that. If you guys made...
She don't care. These girls don't care. These girls are acting the same way they would on a date, the same way they act towards men. Let the men get deeper in debt in order to pay for us. These girls don't care. Find it. Find it anywhere. Find it in a sock drawer. Find it in a couch. Find it in your car seat. Find it wherever you can. Find it in the boardroom. I don't care. As long as these ladies get paid for a loss. As long as these girls can exist in... as long as these ladies don't have to exist in reality. Find it. I need more money. NBA got to pay me. Find the money. Give us a bigger loss. Find it. But I need more money. These girls don't understand, man. They're living. They're at the prime of their lives. They're still within their phase. I'll say phase. I ain't going to call them what it is, but they're still in their phase. So they still have this entitled mindset that men owe them. And they ain't that ashamed. That these girls don't know simple economics. Simple accounting. That if you create a loss, you can't just earn more money and stop the loss. Or you can't earn more money and stop the loss. You can't continue making losses and ask for more money. That's a better analogy. You can't ask for more money and create more losses. But as entitled these ladies are, they're just acting like modern women. Hey, I don't care where these men find it. Find it for me. But I need more money because I've been stupid with my spending. Like Angel Reese has. She's been stupid. She don't know where her money is. She is one of the chief contributors to consumer debt. She don't care. She don't have a budget. Let the man find it. I'm a modern woman. Unbelievable. Let's continue.
More money, like if you were making more shots and not missing and breaking so much and missing layups and missing free throws like you always do and being clumsy, maybe people will want to come to the games. But they don't want to come and see Angel Reese miss all the shots because you're a terrible basketball player. The reality...
Yeah, that's exactly what they want. We want... And see, that's the reason why men will not dip into their pockets and ask for more and pay more money to see these ladies, because you're there to see the mistakes. You're not there to see great athleticism, great shooting, great plays, or anything as such. You're there for the mistakes, as in most sports. But definitely in the WNBA, you're there to see the mistakes. Well, actually, females, women's sport, period. The only one that I can count that is watchable sport is women's tennis. Serena Williams, fantastic player, wonderful to see. And that's why they earn millions of dollars as female tennis players, because there is where you see pure talent. In the WNBA, you see mistakes just like you saw here. Who wants to see that? Who wants to pay for that? Then men have guns held to their head and say, why aren't you supporting us? Because we don't want to see these damn mistakes. Oh, my God. Continue.
It ain't nothing to fight. Ain't no hill to fight on, baby girl.
The hoochie burger. Yeah, if you sit out, goddammit, that just means somebody gonna hoop.
Yeah, they just gonna find another broad. Yeah.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. She said that she's the Barbie doll.
You should have let Shaq take you down.
Right.
She tripping, dog. Money.
Real tall bitch legs are awkwardly high in the air.
Especially in doggies, right?
Yeah. Well, doggy is irregular looking.
I'm sorry, Cora. We got a comment here from Lana. Lana's come back with another comment saying the Canadian women's hockey team has won more times than the men's team. Okay, well, yeah, but there's less competition in the women's game. Thank you very, very much for the comment, Lana. But there are only two teams, literally, in women's hockey. The United States and Canada. That's it. In men's hockey, you've got Canada, you got U.S., you got Russia, you got Finland, you got Sweden, you got Czechoslovakia, you got Czech Republic, you've got Slovakia, you've got who else? So many other teams. You got about 8 to 9 teams. You see that Super Series that just happened here? You had 4 teams in that. You had Canada, U.S., Finland, Sweden. You didn't even count Russia. Russia's in that too. They're a huge superpower in that. There are about 10 teams you can count on. That's the reason why the men's team don't win as much. Because in the women's game, there's really only 2 teams. There are really only 2 teams. Canada, U.S., done. That's why they're always having Super Series. That's why they're always, at pretty much every gold medal game, it's usually Canada and the U.S. That's the reason why they've won more, because they've had more chance to win. There's not as much competition in those things. But I do appreciate the comment, Lana DK. But, yeah. So, let's continue with this. Thank you very much, Lana.
But the way they're making couches now, it even out perfectly, because a lot of couches are low.
Right.
But, so when you got somebody that tall, doggy, you can watch Netflix and go medium speed and last a little while, unless the real gooey.
I feel like she got some fire to her. Yeah.
That's what I be wanting to ask. Like, be wanting to walk up to you, is your big or whatever? And I get it. But I be wanting to ask, is your gooey?
What is the viscosity of your vagina?
Right, goddammit. Do you have a STP tattoo on your...
Guys, what can I say? Why do you think a lot of these WNBA players are going after ballers? Why? Why do you think a lot of these WNBA players literally are banking on men for the rest of their existence? Because they can't budget away for the future. I think the only one really who can do that is Caitlin Clark. But let me tell you this. You can look up on the internet. Angel Reese is she is on the hunt for some ballers. I think there was one YouTube video going out here where she was falling around. I think it was Shedeur. Shedeur Sharp, one of the top top NFL draft picks that was coming up in April. She was falling around like a puppy dog. Why? Because she realized that that's the man that's going to take her out of her debt that she created herself. Remember, this girl earns 6 figures. Remember that now. But she's still looking for a man to take her out of her debt. Make that make sense. Any person worth their salt. You're part of the 1%, top 1% if you're earning at least 15% if you're earning over $100,000. With her endorsement, she's earning, I would say, mid to high 6 figures. That is the top 1% of earners. And she still can't keep her goddamn money correct. Make that make sense. That can feed a family of 4 quite well. Bring them on vacations to some of the best resorts. Have a lovely household. You are the top 1%. Every kid has a car by the age of 16. Everybody has a college fund to their liking if you are earning that sort of money. Now, the longevity, that's one thing, but she's 23. I'm sure she can play till 30. Anyways, what more can I say? Let's continue.
Ladies and gentlemen, a polite sound. We are now about to embark on.
Oh, let's move on here.
Walk out because you know what? Nobody's watching it. Nobody's showing up to the game. 8,000 on the average of attendance. If it's not Caitlin Clark, you're left in the dark. What are you talking about?
I'm seeing the name Caitlin Clark everywhere. I see her videos all over the internet. She's clearly a really big basketball player. Why is she only getting paid $76,000 for her time on the team? And, you know, to that I have to say, just people aren't watching the WNBA as much as they watch the NBA.
There it is. Rewind that back for a second. Amala Ekpanobi, who's been featured here on the show, a fantastic, well, she's very easy on the eyes, but very, very a fantastic YouTuber and social social commentarist. I think so. And offers great social commentary. Let's just leave it there. She's absolutely right. No one's going to see the WNBA. That's her base salary. Her base salary is $76,000. Again, she would be considered, a high value man in training at that point. That's what Kevin Sanders would say. But again, she's earning good money. Well, she's earning good money as a WNBA player, but that's all they can afford. Where she's making her real money is on that Nike endorsement. That's where she's earning. That's a 7-figure endorsement. So she is, as my mother would say, shitting in tall grass. The rest of the WNBA, they got to deal with that salary and play overseas, sort of like what's her name? Rich Garner, Taraji Garner, anyways. In Russia, there we go. That would be Brittany Griner. Perfect. That's where Brittany Griner comes in. You see, she had to go overseas to earn that paper to get that money. However, she found out that you cannot flout their laws in terms of their drug laws over there, and then she was held in captivity, and then we had to exchange her for the person known as the Angel of Death, an arms dealer who was a notorious arms dealer who sold, who was a mercenary who sold to different different faction of different wars, and was responsible, whose weaponry was responsible for thousands upon thousands of dead soldiers and innocents as well. But that's what we're exchanged for. That's who Brittany Griner's exchanged for, because she had a little weed on her time in Russia, playing that extra amount so that she can, offer a stipend to her salary. Make that make sense. We exchanged the angel of death for Brittany Griner and her weed use. No wonder Trump got reelected. Let's continue.
Say, just people aren't watching the WNBA as much as they watch the NBA. Caitlin Clark signed a $28 million Nike deal before she had even played a professional game.
There it is, $28 million. So which dwarfs her $76 million base salary from the WNBA. Absolutely dwarfs it. So, what can I say? What can I say? It's, I mean, she is bringing a lot of money into the NBA, WNBA, but a lot of ladies are very jealous of her and her salary that she brought in. I mean, she's white and heterosexual. That's what brings the money in. Sorry, it's true. She has a lot of I'll say conservative values that she's bringing to the WNBA, but not a lot of people. I mean, this is the Alphabet Gang League, if you believe me. So she is counterculture, to be fair, and a lot of people are teeing off on her because of it. But they're killing the golden goose, but and not realizing that you need her in order for everyone to do well. But tell that to ladies who want more money from a loss. Let's continue.
He has also signed with Wilson, the first basketball player to do so since Michael Jordan in 1984. Angel Reese has deals with Reebok, Beats by Dre, Wingstop, Xfinity, and many more. Sure, they can both make more through bonuses or marketing opportunities with the league and can make millions in sponsorship deals.
You gotta hustle harder, baby girl.
WNBA players are complaining, whining, hemming, and hawing without understanding the full extent of the NBA sports business. They are concerned with their statistics, their hits, and their misses, clawing each other's eyes out, committing hard, flagrant fouls on their rising.
Oh, that was Angel Reese. That was Angel Reese. If you didn't see that on Talk Live here, that was Angel Reese committing a hard foul. She was jealous of the money that young Caitlin here was getting. So she is, she's a bit of a jealous type. So she acted a bit of revenge, just a little bit, just a little tap on the forehead, just to let her know that, she didn't like the $28 million written across her forehead. Let's continue.
Stars like Caitlin Clark doing whatever they can to sabotage, preventing them from getting the money shot increase in payday. But these lovely ladies demand getting the same pay as man. They gotta take a step back and look at the totality of the picture instead of crying their eyes out, bawling basketball-sized teardrops without understanding the multi-million-dollar figures that they so believe that they're entitled to command, split amongst all the numerous investors.
Like, for example, they sell my jersey in Mandalay Bay, I don't get a dime.
You don't get any money from jersey sales?
That's great. In the NBA, they have percentages of revenue shared for the players, right? So jersey sales, obviously their TV contracts, you see these every year, these contracts get bigger and bigger and bigger, right?
Yeah.
The WNBA reportedly securing a new round.
But the fact of the matter is that money, those TV deals that are getting bigger and bigger and bigger are meant to pay off the losses that you're already receiving. What are you not getting here? Once you're out of making losses, then you'll start making more money. But until then, it's not going to happen. Again, this 2.2, see here on Talk Live, what this $2.2 billion media rights deal means for the league and player. Then you'll start getting more money. Then they'll start paying off some of those losses that they're receiving. That's a huge deal for the WNBA through NBC. However, Let's see how long that lasts, because it's going to be the listen, most leagues, professional sports leagues, including let's take the Premier League. The reason why the Premier League is the one of the biggest league in European football, European soccer, as they say. Oh my God, I just hate that sound. Anyways, the reason why it is the biggest is because they have huge American TV deals, huge NBC, Sky Sports, huge TV deals, Satana Sports around the world, and they are eating a lot of these leagues up, and they're playing catch up with the Premier League, including La Liga, including other leagues. So this $2.2 billion that's coming in for the WNBA is huge for them, absolutely huge, because it's going to erase a lot of the losses that they're receiving right now. And it's only through TV deals that it's going to allow that to happen. But again, you're dealing with year upon year upon year of losses. But luckily, through this new TV deal, the NBA can stop paying these girls off. Stop having to literally, be the man who's paying the bill, but getting no reward in return. If you know what I mean. Let's continue.
Round of media rights deals with NBC, Amazon, and Disney, the parent company of ABC, worth about $2.2 billion over 11 years, about $200 million a year.
NBA players get about 50% of what the league calls basketball-related income. A Forbes report last year estimated that WNBA players only get about 25% of BRI.
We're not asking to get paid what the men get paid. We're asking to get paid the same percentage of revenue shared.
Okay. So that's a huge mistake.
So again, they mean they want to get us. Oh my God. They're still not getting it. Until that new TV deal kicks in, you're still asking for more of a loss. That's the long and the short of it. You're asking for more of a loss. You want the $40 million you're losing to become $80 million. You want to double that because you want a greater share of revenue. And it's uncanny to me. Oh, we want a greater revenue stream. What are you trying to do here? Are you trying to pay back the NBA? Do you want? Oh, it's like you know what it's like. I'll tell you what it's like. It's again going back to the restaurant analogy. You have ordered steak, you have ordered shrimp, you have ordered lobster, but yet you still want the most expensive bottle on the menu, on the wine list. Instead of humbling yourself, you still are asking for more, and that, my dear, is absolutely ridiculous. Let's continue.
Misconception.
It's a huge misconception.
For sure.
Yeah, right. So I want to be really clear about that. Like, I don't think I should get paid the same as LeBron.
Right.
But the percentage of revenue,
and now you know why the WNBA can't get paid the same percentage as the men, which is 50%, because all of these stakeholders are involved. It's not just the players and the owners. It's the players, the owners, the NBA investors who put $250 to $300 million into the league, and the outside investors who pumped in $75 million to the league. All those people get a cut of the revenue. Based on the way the league is set up, the most they can get is 21%, unless the owners or the NBA or those outside investors give up some of their equity.
The top boys.
So there you go. So they want these. A great synopsis there by Nate the Lawyer. Shout out to Nate the Lawyer, doing wonderful things in YouTube streets. I got to go back to see him for a little while because his coverage on the mayor in Illinois saga is. The Naughty Mayor of Illinois saga is outstanding, quite simply. So shout out to Nate the Lawyer. But yes, he's absolutely right. So you're basically asking the WNBA to give up their share of revenue. So they're asking these men to say, no, I don't want anything from me. This is a charity. It's basically asking the NBA to be a charity. So these ladies could get a greater piece of the pie. And this is for a losing proposition. ladies and gentlemen, there is no business that's going to allow its investors to take a loss or be charitable when they pump in millions upon millions of dollars. But such is the entitlement women feel that they could just literally ask for more for a losing so frustrating. It really is frustrating. But these ladies just don't get it. But they're young and they're entitled and they feel that they deserve more. Even though the NBA is making it so that these girls are getting endorsement deals so they can indeed thrive, literally thrive. Caitlin Clark is on a she's on a $28 million Nike deal over 8 years. So that's what 8 years, that's about $3 million a year. Fantastic. But until the NBA is seen in more on more screens, until there are better deals forthcoming, until these people start turning a profit, then why would the NBA or any other investor want to give you more money? Makes no sense. Let's continue.
The stud bullies of the NBA is not going to be able to pry the monies out of all these other men that got their hand in the cookie jar. The patriarchy's got the iron fist, and no amount of hissy fits that these ladies be throwing on the ground rolling is going to get any of those big wigs and big dogs to be doling out the cash and filling up these NBA players' pockets until these players pull up them skirts and start dunking and selling more tickets.
Now, if you split it out, it turns out that the players for the WNBA can only really get a max of 21% of basketball-related revenue. And remember, that's in contrast to the NBA players who get 50% of basketball-related revenue.
But again, these NBA players have worked their ass off to make at the NBA itself and the NBA Players Association have worked tirelessly to make their product world famous over years on years on years of growth. The women want the money now. They expect it. They know the let me tell you, if you don't know the story of the NBA or the previous story of the NBA, they're very much like the WNBA. They called it, for lack of a better word, the N-word league. Way back when in the 70s, they called it the N-word league. That's when racism was really at, it was after Martin Luther King, but hey, listen, it was there for all to see. It used to be called the N-word league for many a year, and it was a losing proposition for years until, pardon the pun, magically and bird-like, two players came into the NBA, Larry Bird and Magic Johnson, and saved the league through their marketability. Because a lot of these guys, again, were getting minimum salaries and only were surviving on their endorsements until Bird and Johnson came into the league and made it profitable again. And then after that came God himself, Mr. Jordan, and the rest is history. Then it became a worldwide entity, and Michael Jordan raised all the salaries to most of these players to a point where now they're averaging, as was said here, a minimum salary in the NBA is $800,000. That's the league minimum. But that took years to build. Tell that to these ladies over here. Years of renegotiation with the NBA for these guys to get that 50-50 share with the NBA and the NBA Players Union. It took years to build. But ladies expect it right now. Well, of course, entitlement is always free when you ask for it. Lord knows the poster child for entitlement of the WNBA is Angel Reese herself. Let's continue.
So let's say the WNBA made $10 billion like the NBA. Now remember, the men were getting $5 billion, but the women would only get $2.1 billion. $3 billion less than the men because of how everyone has to be paid. The owners for the WNBA would get $2.1 billion. The NBA would get $4.2 billion. And then that private investor group would also get $1.6 billion. So, bottom line, in terms of percentage of revenue, the most the WNBA players can make is about 21 to 22%, while the NBA players make 50%. Math.
Going back to that statistic, but that took years to build.
NBA players can make is about 21 to 22%, while the NBA players make 50%. Math.
It took 50%, ladies and gentlemen, trying to get it back here. Okay.
22%, while the NBA players make 50%. Massive.
So, you see there.
While the NBA players make 50%.
Right there. Thank goodness I finally got some editing done. But that's the problem. You need all these investors. You need all these owners. You need all these people to chip in for these girls to only get 21%. That's the reason for their low salaries. Is because you need all these investors to keep this thing afloat because it's been a losing venture. Ever since it began in the late noughties, I believe. Or yeah, I think it was the late noughties. That took years to build for the NBA to get a 50% share. But it's a bankable... Everybody wins that way. The players win because they get more salary money, and the owners win because they're making money hand over fist in the collective bargaining agreement. That's the only way that women will get a greater share is through more money coming into the league and they being able to renegotiate a contract so they can get a bigger share themselves. It's simple economics that these ladies simply don't get.
50%. Massive.
But that's because their CBA it negotiates where if the owners are making certain types of money, they get that as well.
I need to get them
because the owners are making serious bank because they know that they can afford to give away a little money because they're gonna get a lot of money in return, or else no one will be playing in the NBA. They know they're gonna get that money back. These investors know they're not going to get that money back, so they're gonna listen. Anything that comes in, they're getting their share, and these ladies can go kick rocks, kick serious ass rocks, including the lady featured here today, Angel Reese, talking about she needs a goddamn, she needs to strike or something. Strike! Go ahead and strike. You're getting paid high six figures for your play in the WNBA, and you're complaining that you're not getting enough. Man, get out of here. Man, get out of here, please.
You need to come to the meeting. I gotta get in the meetings because I'm hearing they don't give us. If y'all don't give us what we want, we sit out.
That's a possibility.
Yeah, it's a possibility that these girls don't understand simple economics. No, that's that's not just a possibility. That's a damn sure thing. Sure thing they don't understand economics, but, such is entitlement.
And Angel Reese, lady, we're trying to give you a little grace here, but you're not making much sense. What you're doing is you're talking like you don't understand the market value of where you play in. So let me break it down to you. The WNBA is a small pond, less than the average college team revenue. What they're doing is they're living off of the NBA. The NBA subsidizes them at the tune of $10 million.
AKA Daddy.
Plus a year. So you can't go to somebody who's subsidized, who's living off of somebody else, asking for more money. It's the equivalent of going up to your little sister and telling her she needs to pay you more when y'all both living in your daddy's house. It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make any sort of sense. If you're not pulling in any more revenue, why are you trying to get blood from a stone? We know why.
sense. Now, you can go to Big Daddy NBA and ask him for some money, but he's going to look at you and laugh because he's already doing enough.
Is it our duty as men and also the men leagues to revenue share with our women leagues? The NFL, the NBA, should we be contributing?
Okay, listen, that's what ladies are arguing for years. They're arguing that men need to contribute more, show up more, do more. What's the difference between this and dating? I'm asking you. What's the difference between this and marriage? Not much. Especially...
Contributing to the WNBA.
Everybody knows basketball, football is the only sports that make money in college, right? Basketball
That's
and
facts.
football.
That's facts.
Basketball, football, the only sports that make money. And they talk about, hey, if they start paying athletes, why don't we pay the softball players? Why don't we pay the volleyball players? And my response, you're not generating money. Why do you need to get paid?
As you can see here at the top, the NBA generated $10.58 billion in revenue, while the women's game only generated $200 million in revenue. But when you take into account expenses for the women's game, that revenue number actually drops to $40 million in the whole. In 2023, the female game lost $40 million. And remember, this was the WNBA's best season ever. And they...
Remember, and that continued to 2024. They lost $40 million again. Even with Caitlin Clark. They still lost $40 million again.
Still lost $40 million.
You look at a WNBA game, fellas, it's 4,000 people there. You look at an NBA game, the Heat have been sold out for 2 decades at 18+ thousand people a game. It's the survival of the fittest, Darwinism. You eat what you kill. If you are not generating money, you shouldn't make money. Fred said it, the business side of sports where the NBA...
Wonderful way he said that. I want to repeat that again. Ladies, I want you to hear this, okay? This is simple economics. Wait for it. You're going to say it again. I want you to hear it now. Hold on.
Kill. If you are not generating money, you shouldn't make money. Fred said it, the business side.
If you're not generating money, you should not make money, let alone ask for more. Let alone threaten strikes. You are a losing proposition to begin with, and yet you still want more money. In what universe does that make sense? I'll tell you where. In the gynocratic universe.
Side of sports where the NBA salary cap has been going up every single year since 2007. So now we going on 13, 14 years of the salary cap being increased.
They've made a ton of changes to better support the players. Changes that have been expensive and
shout out to I Am
driven the
Athlete for
league
that.
deeper into debt. Yet it's never enough. Now we
And the thing about it is, when these parades happen for these championships that we just saw, nobody shows up. Nobody knows what the hell, when it's happening, who it's happening for. You've seen it time and time again. These girls don't hold big parades. They just show up at City Hall and make their speeches and leave. They don't want a big parade. I remember when the Raptors did won the title here. There were 2 million people on the streets. 2 million on the streets. You'll barely get 1,000 to an NBA championship rally. 1,000. Let that sink in.
have Angel Reese up here calling for a strike, even though she admitted she's never even been to any of the meetings. It's very clear she doesn't understand the actual business of the WNBA.
If the WNBA is not killing any meat, how can they eat?
So
more?
I just feel like these ladies have it too good nowadays. Yes, you're a professional athlete, but let's really look at the history of athletics in this country. Not until the late 80s were athletes actually affluent. Before then, most of those folks had a job off season. And
there it is, including the NBA. It's only when Magic, Bird, and Michael Jordan came around that they started making good money. During most of the NBA's time in existence, they did not. Only during the 80s did they do that, and they're doing that for the last 40 years. We're coming back to finish up here on Talk Live. We only have a few minutes left, so come on back, and we'll finish up here. So, but thank you very much for joining me on Talk Live. Like, subscribe, comment on the road to 1,000 subscribers. A few changes coming along the way as well. We'll finish up this WNBA Asking Daddy for More Money in a second. Come on back. Thank you very much for joining me back here on Talk Live on IG and YouTube. Like, subscribe, comment on the road to 1,000 subscribers. Let us get back into this. Let's not take the piss, girl. Okay, excellent. Thank you very much for joining me here on Talk Live on IG and YouTube. Like, subscribe, comment on the road to 1,000 subscribers. Let's get into this. Let's see about this and finish up this whole thing because we only have a few minutes left. But, the WNBA is simply not learning, or they don't have any economists on that side of the ledger, or any accountants who are doing their numbers or are passing that number off to the players, because quite simply they're not learning themselves. Let's continue with this.
That's what you need to do. You have to realize the league is only 20 plus years old.
Yes, sir.
NFL didn't always make this money.
Right.
MLB and NBA players didn't always make this money. Mm-hmm. But as the television rights grew, as teams expanded and sponsors and advertisers realized the reach that athletes have, then advertisers, sponsors, television rights all of a sudden got on, because it's still live events is where it's at.
And there it is. That is, in a nutshell. Shout out to Shannon Sharp. Shout out to Nightcap. Shout out to Ocho Cinco. There it is. Men weren't making serious... listen. Players in the NHL, NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, MLB, all were not making serious bank until television came in and started paying them good money. That's why the top the top three leagues, NBA, top three leagues in the world, NBA, NFL, and MLB, fourth being the Premier League, are all now making serious dough because television come in and realize the sort of advertising dollars that are available, and now are making serious bank. They're some of the biggest leagues in the world. NFL number one, number two being MLB, number three being NBA. Fourth would be the Premier League. And other people are fighting for those views, fighting for that attention span. But no one's going to come to the NBA because, listen, the talent ain't there. There is talent, but it's not to the level of the NBA. It's not to the level of Major League Baseball. It's not to the level of the National Football League. So who does it take to support these things? Again, I say it's gonna take the ladies. The ladies gotta come out and support this league. And if they don't, they deserve what they get, unfortunately. They do. It's a ladies' league. Why aren't the ladies supporting it? Why is their biggest fan base men? From 28 to 45. That demographic. That supports the WNBA. That's the biggest demographic when it comes to those 4,000, the average 4,000 a night. There it is.
New York Liberty are valued at $130 million. In 2019, the team was reportedly sold for $10 million to Alibaba co-founder Joe Tsai. The team made $2 million in ticket revenue in just one game this season, the most ever of any WNBA team.
But all things being equal, you know what needs to happen?
Yes, sir.
Men talking, women need to go take their to the games too.
There it is.
That's what needs to happen.
Right.
There it
Women
is.
need to support women.
Right.
Women are the biggest haters of women.
I
ain't breaking news to nobody.
Now that's what you call a revelation. Now that's what you call women are jealous of women, so they don't want to see them compete. at the highest level. Shannon, there's a reason why I subscribe to you. There's a reason why you are making more and more sense every day. He is definitely a man of the red pill, even though we can't really say it in public. But he is definitely a man of the red pill. But it's true what he says there. It's absolutely true what it says there. Women jealous of women playing in a sport that they can participate in, so therefore they don't come out. It's it's the green-eyed devil rearing its ugly head again, especially when it comes to female kind. Absolutely. Women can support women and see it for the spirit of the sport. I think that's the reason why they've been losing money for 20 plus years. Absolutely. And they much rather be seen in an NBA game than a WNBA game, but that's besides the point. The fact of the matter is, it's true, whenever a man wants to go to the NBA, a woman will be in tow. She will cancel plans with her friends. She'll cancel plans with family to get to an NBA game. Believe me, I know. It is a drug. The NBA is a drug to females because that is the one place that they will show up en masse, on time, no questions asked. Show up to a WNBA game. When women start showing up to the WNBA game over the NBA, then I'll believe there's a change coming. But until that time, it's true. What Shannon Sharpe is saying is right. Women jealous of women playing a sport that they can't play, so therefore, they ain't coming out to see them. Hate runs deep, as they say. Hate runs deep. Shout out to Shannon Sharpe.
I ain't never thought about it.
I know you did. Yeah. That's what women need to go. Go to the game, women.
Do you think that the WNBA should be paid the same as the NBA?
The NBA obviously brings in more revenue, and so it does make sense that they're getting paid more, but I do think that the gap is way too big. So I do think that
because it took years to make that gap, but again, entitlement is oh my God. You know what the rest. Entitlement is blind to a woman. Yes, you did all the sacrifice, you did all the work, but we still want as much as you do. As the old saying goes, women don't build, they move in. The men had to build that sport to such a level that people had to recognize, notice it, and pay it its fair share. Women think, oh, I'm entitled, so yes, they make more than us, but we should make as much as them. Even though we don't put in the work. You heard it again. You heard it. Shout out to whatever.
WNBA should be paid more.
See these women train.
I want you to name one WNBA player.
None.
Nobody.
Bottom line.
Ladies, stop hating the players and take it up with the game. There ain't no shame to admitting defeat, in that your argument is invalid. And instead of getting your panties in a bunch and getting all livid, you gotta figure a way to get your lady friends. The sisterhood, their assets in the seats. Then maybe you can't get the same kind of money like your male counterparts are getting.
And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Until ladies get in the butts into the seats, then there will be no change. There will be no change. And women who expect that they should get as much money as the same revenue share, get that 50% that their male counterparts are getting, are living in cloud cuckoo land. Absolute cloud cuckoo land, including the leader of cloud cuckoo land, that is Angel Reese. Thank you very much for absolutely absurd. Oh, wow. It's just an absurd topic, but, ladies they just don't get it. Especially the NBA players, they just don't get it. Anyways, thank you very much to THPPU Network. Like and subscribe to THPPU Network, doing wonderful things in the YouTube streets. And, like and subscribe to these guys. These guys are really consensus maker in terms of facts and figures and these sort of things, and they pull from different areas and make their own points, which is fantastic. I think they're a great group, and I'm subscribing right now. Why am I not subscribed? I am subscribing to them right now. They're doing wonderful things in YouTube streets, and I thank them very much tonight on Talk Live. So let's just get back to it, ladies and gentlemen. Let us get back. Let's see if there are any comments on the other side here. Oh, we're good. So let's just get back to it here on Talk Live. Let's go back to the full cam. Ladies and gentlemen, it's basic economics. You can't make a silk purse from a sow's ear. A lawyer once told me that. You can't make a silk purse from a sow's ear. Until you get the proper materials to make a silk purse, it's not going to get made. No matter how much you kick, scream, and shout into the wind, it's not going to get made. The WNBA has to humble themselves and realize it's going to take years of growth for them to get a bigger piece of the pie. The same thing has happened with every single league in existence. Every single league. The MLB, the NFL, the NBA, the Premier League, La Liga, anything. The NFL, the NHL, all these guys have had to work their tuchuses off in order to get the sort of money they're receiving now. But women just think they should show up and get their fair share because entitlement is blind to those who have it. But there it is. A men supporting the league, still wanting more. That sounds familiar. But I thank you very much for joining me here on Talk Live on IG and YouTube. Like, subscribe, comment on the road to 2,000 subscribers. We're going to end it there. Tomorrow night, we're going to be talking public lives of Shaq and Neo, and how Shaq has co-signed on Neo's lifestyle, to be fair. We'll go into that a little tomorrow night. Or we're going to be talking about Snow White, and it's abysmal. And I do mean abysmal. Box office returns this past weekend after a $500 million investment into the new movie, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. And how this is following a pattern, a literal pattern of woke movies and television series that have flopped year on year for a specific reason. And we'll go into that tomorrow night on Talk Live on IG and YouTube. Thank you very much for joining me here. We're going to get out of here, and I'm going to get something to eat and maybe just get a little more of a workout at the gym. But thank you very much for joining me here on Talk Live. I'll see you tomorrow night. And good night from Toronto on IG. And I thank you very much for joining me here on Talk Live. Yes, indeed, the WNBA's got problems, but they're the only ones going to solve them. It's going to take years to do it. And until then, until women come out and encourage other women to come out and see their sport, carry their daughters to see it, because men aren't going to be held at gunpoint. Well, maybe they will. Maybe there is an exchange that can be had here. You know what I mean? But anyways, there's no way that men can save the sport as it already is, as it already has. It's going to have to grow like every other sport out there. Every other league, every other major league, every other major sports league have had to go through these trials in order to reach the top. But women think that they can just, bypass the line and somehow make things work. But that is not going to be the case. And until women realize this and start attending their games and attending their sport in whatever capacity it may be, you expect the same result, and it's just a literal